We know that there was a call between the Kenyan president and the Tanzanian president to try and find common ground. And those diplomatic efforts are going on. And who knows, they may just succeed. After all, everyone knows that, the trade between Kenya and Tanzania is massive and has been growing. If the borders are effectively closed, if, for instance, trucks are not moving, there's quite a lot of produce that is supposed to come from Tanzania to Kenya. There's quite a number of goods that come from, especially manufactured goods, that come from Kenya to Tanzania, that then will not be able to cross the borders. And both countries will suffer. And this is why we believe the two presidents then had to move very quickly and try to bring this perfect storm to an end. We do not know really whether Tanzania will continue with the process of opening up, or whether President Magufuli will change track and start to do what the other leaders are doing. And we are not here to judge whether his strategies are good or bad, or they are more productive. The fact of the matter is that COVID-19 has presented many unknowns to professionals, including health professionals. And leaders are also finding it difficult to really make decisions within this process. Now, if you look at all these issues, they seem to again undermine the fundamental principles of the East African community. We know, for example, that the heads of state, whenever they have their summits, they have to be present, all of them, or at least they have to have representation, all of them, without which they cannot proceed to make decisions. So what does that mean? That we are heading towards a situation where if one head of state does not want something to happen, they simply keep off meetings. And so decisions will not be made. That is the kind of situation we are heading towards. Now, if you want to undermine regional integration anywhere, not just in East Africa, whether it's Southern Africa, whether it's Western Africa, whether it's Europe, whether it's Asia, the thing to do is to stop having meetings at the highest level of political decision making. Then you will kill that regional integration process. And yet we know the importance of regional integration in Africa. Last week, we talked about, we gave the background in terms of how Africa's humongous integration process is moving, how through the Lagos Plan of Action, the idea is to have the African Economic Community, that the East African Community is one of the building blocks of the African Economic Community. And therefore, the moment you start to make it difficult for leaders to meet and make decisions is the moment you start to undermine the regional integration effort. And we now can only pressure these two governments to try and mend fences and make sure that we continue to move on with regional integration. We know, for example, that Rwanda and Tanzania also had a problem with trackers. Rwanda was insisting on a swapping system where drivers would drive to the border and then a different driver would take over. And Tanzanian truckers actually protested that decision. And the Rwandese authorities were actually forced to come down and admit that that would negatively affect the movement of goods around the region. Now, finally, is just to note that through the East African Community Treaty and the Customs Union Protocol, through the Common Market Protocol, it is envisaged that there will be collective decision making it is envisaged that non-tariff barriers would cease to exist. And we know that some of these problems are still there. So as we end our program today, the question again to ask is the relationship between Tanzania and Kenya the weak link in terms of promoting a joint effort to fight COVID-19? We have seen and we have reviewed the happenings around the region, and we have seen that there's a serious problem. We think that it is time for leaders to really be very serious, and for citizens as well to force their leaders into making decisions that will be useful for the people of East Africa